Hi, folks. This is Harold Ree with the Paw Print Animal Rescue Podcast. Before we get to the amazing and talented Genevieve Frederick, can't believe it, but we're already 80 episodes in. We're going to probably do a few more episodes and then we'll wrap up for 2016 and get ready for an amazing 2017. We'd love to hear from you. Give us some feedback on our iTunes or Stitcher pages. Go to thisispawprint.com/iTunes or /Stitcher and leave us a review. Give us some feedback. Tell us who your favorite guest was. And who knows, we may read your review on the air and send you some dog or cat goodies. Thanks, and on to the show.
This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community, episode 80. I'm Nancy Ree.
And I'm Harold Ree.
Today's guest is Genevieve Frederick.
If you could get pet food from the local food bank, would that help you out? These people were ecstatic. They were, oh my God, with that extra money that we would have, we would be able to have gas, we'd be able to feed ourselves better, but our dogs come first. That hit the front page of the newspaper. By the next afternoon, that 55-gallon garbage can was full of pet food.
Genevieve is founder of Pets of the Homeless in Carson City, Nevada, an important organization with 4 different programs: pet food donation, wellness clinics, emergency care, and pet crates, all for the safety and well-being of homeless people and their pets. And it all started when Genevieve visited New York City a few years ago. If you want to learn more about Pets of the Homeless, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/80. That's the number 80.
Took a little trip to New York, kind of a vacation, and saw a homeless guy and decided he had a dog with him. And I was very touched by it. Coming from the Bay Area, seen lots of homeless people, and I have always ignored them because they're panhandling, especially in San Francisco. And I had never really noticed a homeless person with a dog. This one caught me in New York, and it was probably because of another visit a few years before on business. And I saw a pregnant young girl with a garbage bag on, and that's all she had on. And she was stoned out of her mind, and I was like, oh my God. So New York had something, I was more, I don't know, I guess I was more wanting to see more and open my eyes and not just walk down the street with tunnel vision, get from point A to point B. So anyway, I saw this dog. I came home back to Carson City, Nevada, and I started researching about homelessness and people that were homeless and had pets, because I couldn't figure out what would this guy who could not support himself, how's he feeding this animal? How is he giving it the basic veterinary care that this animal needs? It dawned on me immediately that this dog was giving this guy some kind of comfort and unconditional love, and this dog is non-judgmental. This dog doesn't know if it's living in a mansion or on the streets. He just knows he wants to be with his owner. And these pets are with their owners 24/7, which makes that bond very, very strong. Anyway, I came back and I went, what could I do? I mean, I wanted to do something, but being a white middle-aged, older woman, I'm not the type that is going to go up to a homeless person, start talking to them, give them money or give them dog food or water or a hamburger or whatever. So I knew that there were other women out there and other people that were in the same situation. They wanted to help because that pet needed something, but they didn't want to confront a homeless person because, I'll get into the stats on that later. But I decided that, hey, if I took some pet food over to my local veterinarian, and then he partnered with our local food bank, which gives out food anyway, and that's where the poor and the homeless go to get their daily meal, this could be a win-win. This might work. So I talked to my veterinarian about it. I said, hey, Gary, would you be interested in having a 55-gallon garbage can in your lobby and a little sign that says donate pet food for Pets of the Homeless, Pets of, Carson City? And he said, sure, I'll give it a try. So with my background being in PR, I sent out a press release to our local little community paper, and they sent somebody out to the Carson River and interviewed a couple that was living out there with 3 dogs in their old cab over camper on an old truck. The reporter took pictures, interviewed them, and said, if you could get pet food from the local food bank, would that help you out? These people were ecstatic. They were, oh my God, with that extra money that we would have, we would be able to have gas. We'd be able to feed ourselves better, but our dogs come first. So that hit the front page of the newspaper. By the next afternoon, that 55-gallon garbage can was full of pet food.
Wow.
And it was interesting because Carson City is the capital of Nevada. And at the time, there was a legislature going on, and they had a couple of assemblymen and legislatures have their staff go over and donate pet food. So this was the impact that it had. And from then, I knew that this was going to work. So I started calling other hospitals and pet-related businesses and asking them, I said, this is what I'd like to do, and I'd like your help. If there's no cost to do this, would you be interested? I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how, I'll tell you what to say when you call your local food bank and say, are you distributing pet food to your clients? And if they say no, then you say, hey, if I can supply you with a little bit of pet food, would you then be able to do this? And they said, sure. And some of them had no idea that their clients had pets.
Right.
Because they always left them at home or in the car or with somebody else because pets were not welcome. And now we have over 400 donation sites across the country. We have some in Canada. We have one in Australia. So we kind of went international here. In that same avenue, we have over 420 pet food providers in the United States and also in Canada. And these are agencies that are already servicing the low income and the homeless in those communities. So they're like food banks, they're soup kitchens, they're homeless shelters, they're churches that have little pantries for their congregation. So this is how the pet food gets distributed. They have, since we started, collected and taken to these pet food providers over 418 tons of pet food. That's a big number.
Oh, yeah.
And we estimate that the fair market value is over $1.66 million.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. That shows you what the need truly, truly is. Our emergency care program is our most expensive. And this year alone, our budget is set at $85,000. So to give you a better idea of what that means is that since we started, we have treated in emergency care situations and the wellness clinics, which I'll get into in a minute, over 13,300 pets in the United States and a few in Canada. And the cost to us has been over $373,000. Now, this money actually goes to veterinary hospitals and clinics. Wherever that homeless person is and they have an emergency, they can call us and we will get them to the nearest hospital or clinic that'll work with us. And by that, I mean they need to give us a small discount because we are a nonprofit. But we pay the hospital directly. We never give money to the homeless. So when people are donating, they know that that money is going to be used in one of our programs, and most likely it's going to be for the emergency care because that's our most expensive. Some of these homeless people are so thankful because they don't have the resources to help their dogs when their dogs are and cats are in pain. In fact, one of the stories is about a ferret that was living in a trailer RV kind of a situation with its owner. And that's considered homelessness. And we were able to help that ferret. We've had calls for pigs. We've had calls for snakes, for dragon lizards. Every day is is a new experience for us.
The state of homelessness nowadays, how many people, let's say, are single folks? How many people are really families? I mean, there are just so many homeless families. Do you have those numbers?
Every year, HUD makes a report to Congress on homelessness in America. Those are the only hard statistics that are available, and they break it down by state. The problem with that survey is the methodology that I believe is incorrect. The National Coalition on Homelessness says that there are 3.5 million homeless people in America. The government, however, one night in January every year, they get people, organizations that use HUD money, they require them to go out into the community and count how many homeless people are in shelters, whether they're women, veterans. They go through this whole statistics, and they get all these wonderful, they think, numbers. For me, those numbers are very, very low, because there's a whole group of homeless people out there. They see somebody walking towards them with a clipboard, they are going to disappear, because there's a large percentage of homeless that have a mental illness.
Absolutely.
They're very paranoid, and they have trust issues. So they're not going to be the people that are going to come forward and say, oh, yes, I've been homeless for 10 years.
Right. It's not going to happen.
Just open up their life to these people. I have no way of telling you what the true numbers are, and I don't think anybody truly can. But what I can tell you is that the number of people that call us every day, I would say it's a evenly between men and women. And a lot of these women are older women that are living off of their Social Security. They're scraping by. Maybe they get 3 weeks worth of a motel room. The other week, they're living in their car.
Right.
It's just, the stories that we hear. And we don't ask a lot of questions. We do vet these people. We ask them certain questions to make sure that they are truly homeless for emergency care, because that's our mission, is to help these situations, because we know they don't have the money to, when their dog gets a broken leg. Or in one case, this guy is living in a tent in Southern California. An amber from the campfire lights that tent on fire.
Oh.
The dog is madly trying to wake up his owner. The dog got singed and burned, and they called us, and we were able to get that dog to a veterinarian like pronto, make sure that it didn't get infected. But there's a picture on the website of this dog, and his name is Johan. We get a lot of veterans calling us. They're proud, and they don't want to seek going into a homeless shelter. And to be perfectly honest, some of these homeless shelters are more dangerous than on the streets, because people will get assaulted, especially women. They go into these shelters and they'll get assaulted, they'll get robbed of what little possessions they do have. Some of these places are not safe, I'm sorry. I would be very hesitant to go to one unless it was extremely cold, and I would probably never sleep while I was there. But anyway, that's why so many stay on the streets. They stay on the streets because their pets are not welcomed into these shelters. The shelters are so overcrowded that the shelter managers, because of local building codes, because of county and state, animals are not allowed in unless they can be proved to be a service animal, and then by law they have to let them in. But a lot of our pets have been deemed companion pets by these people's doctors, and companion pets and service animals are completely different animals. So this leads into one of our other programs, is that any homeless shelter that would like to allow pets, we will ship them free collapsible metal crates that are reusable to that homeless shelter. All they have to do is call us, give us, their IRS 501c3 letter to tell us that they are nonprofit. We'll ship them how many crates they think they'll be able to use. If it's 1, 2, 5, it doesn't matter. Give us a size of what animals you think, they may have seen a homeless person out there getting a meal with a dog, and now this might be the opportunity to say, hey, come on in, we'll allow your pet, you just need to crate it so that everybody's safe and secure. But what we feel is that, and we know that this is true, is once they get into that homeless shelter, that is the time that they are more apt to get the social services they need to get out of homelessness. So in most cases, it's the chronic homeless, they've lost all of their identification. So they don't have a social security number anymore, or they had one and they don't know what it is. And, circumstances have made it so it may have been in a storage unit at one time and they didn't have the money to keep the rent up. So now everything's gone. So the social service workers can help them get that number back, help them get that disability they need, because 76% of homeless are either mentally or physically disabled. They have AIDS and HIV, they have mental illness, or they have an addiction problem. Now, the other percentage, which is pretty small, those people may be in homelessness for a short amount of time. They probably have a support system that's going to get them back into a situation where they'll have a job, they can get the rent, or they're going to be able to move to another community where maybe there is better low-income housing for them. And that's part of the problem. There's so many of the large cities have such high rent that this is causing a lot of people to go into homelessness. Homelessness can happen in one paycheck. I took a phone call a couple of months ago from a woman who, she said, I'm in a domestic violence. I don't know what to do. I can't leave. The local domestic violence shelter won't allow me to bring my dog with me. And so I can't go there because I'm not going to leave my dog. So I said, do you have any resources at all? And she said, yes, a little bit. And I said, do you have family that's close by? So my recommendation to her was to find a local motel that would allow pets, go there in a cab, take what money she could, and then call her support system. And she had a sister that was living in another state, and call that person and see if that she could help her get out of, come get her or send her extra money so that she could fly or take the bus or whatever to get out of the area. But those are the kind of situations, these are the calls we get, people asking for our help. They see pets and they see, I'm homeless and I have a pet. These people might be able to help. If we can't help these people, we have a whole list of resources that we can let them know who to call or what website to go to get more information.
When you refer to we, you can see on your website, you have your daughter on the team as executive director. How many people are part of the organization, and how many years and months did it take you and your daughter to really feel like, we're kind of at that critical mass?
There are 3 part-time people that work in our office. There was 4, and we're going to replace that person very shortly. So we have Renee acts as a case manager, and then we have another case manager. That's how many phone calls we get. Getting back to a little bit of the history, it started in a bedroom in my home. Then I needed help. I knew I needed help. So I approached a local firm about a mile from my house. He had almost a closet that he let me have for $40 a month. We set up in there, and that allowed me to start bringing volunteers in to help me. Because as the donations started coming in, that was significant. And so as we rolled along, I think the catalyst that I knew that this was really, as people started calling for interviews, wanting to know more about what I was doing and what was the impact, and by being able to say we've helped this many pets and this is how many pounds, and all of those kinds of numbers helped people understand, wow, there is a big need out there. But the one thing that really shot us up was an article that a freelance writer did and was able to get it on at the AARP Bulletin.
Wow.
And that had like a 4 million readership. That was the catalyst that really put us over that. So as donations started coming into the office, that is when we started being able to offer emergency care. So some of our volunteers out there that were collecting the pet food, one in particular, and she was a mobile groomer, and she'd go out to an encampment, and she would take pet food, and then she would offer to groom these dogs. It was awesome.
That is amazing.
Yes, and she did this. And then as she was grooming these dogs, she would notice, ooh, we got a problem here. So she'd call me and she'd say, Genevieve, I've got a dog that needs to be seen by a veterinarian because this is what I think's going on. And she was usually spot on. She would drive that dog and that owner to a local, within, driving distance of this camp, to that hospital. Then I would talk to we would authorize an exam. So that would be maybe between $50 and $75, depending on what part of the country you're in. So we pre-authorize an exam. Then the veterinarian takes a look at the dog. Then they call us back and they say, we need to do some blood work, or we need x-rays, or we need whatever they need to make a true diagnosis. And then we'll authorize that part of it. Then they'll call us back with the results. Now they've got a treatment plan in place. This is how much it's going to cost to get this dog back to 100%. Sometimes we'll get calls from social workers. We'll get calls from the VA saying, once they know that we're out there, then they have that resource to give to their clients, and they are happy to do it. So that's how that works. The last program of the 4 is our wellness clinics. The wellness clinics we sponsor, and they happen all across the country. These are veterinarians that want to go above and beyond being just a donation site. They want to go out into the community and do the vaccinations and exams and minor medical procedures. So they'll call us and we'll give them a form to fill out, and they say, well, we'd like to do this weekly or monthly, or maybe this is just a once a year thing. Okay, we're happy to do that because it's going to keep that community safe from parvo, from rabies. I mean, once parvo gets into these camps, most of these dogs end up dying. That's the hard fact. So it's so important that these vaccinations happen to keep whole communities safe. Your dog, my dog, plus all the dogs that are roaming the streets, because that's how it spreads. So we'll give them the seed money to start a wellness clinic, and we give them all the tools that we know that have worked for us so that they can have a successful wellness clinic.
Right.
So we do one every year in Reno. And it just so happens that a documentary was done on us recently by Elite Daily, and they actually waited a couple of months so that they could come out from New York City to film a actual wellness clinic. I'm happy to report that as of yesterday, that video has had 1.237 million views. And so it's gone viral, and it's they did an amazing job. But
it's a great video.
It is. You can contact us. at petsofthehomeless.org. That's our website. And we'll send that veterinarian all the information to get started. The best thing about this is that just by letting people know that this is happening, and others across the country, that these particular veterinarians have asked their drug reps to donate the vax. So this isn't going to cost Pets of the Homeless anything.
That's
They
great.
they don't ask for reimbursement because they're getting it for free.
That's amazing. We're talking to Genevieve Frederick. She's founder and president of Pets of the Homeless. Let's just rewind the clock a little bit.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, a little bit of your childhood, and really just kind of your journey to getting to this point in your life.
Oh, well, let's see. I kind of, my early childhood was spent in Santa Barbara, California. My middle years and high school years were spent in San Jose, California. And I met my husband in high school. We will be celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary in January.
Woo!
Yeah.
What's the secret to a long-lasting marriage?
Communication, it's all about give and take. The years flew by, so I don't know what to tell you. I've got 2 daughters and I've got 3 grandchildren. For me, I was getting a little bored, and that is the beginning of this part of this journey, is that being bored, I decided that I would go back into publishing. I had previously published a little book in San Jose, but I decided I wanted to do something about dogs.
Oh.
So I published a book called Happy Tales, and it's hilarious, helpful hints for dog owners. It's kind of almost, I want to say, a bathroom reading book.
Right.
But anyway, it was a fun project. There's cartoons and it's humorous. And that's what took me to New York, because it was up for a Ben Franklin Award for the publishing industry.
Wow.
Anyway, that's how I ended up in New York during that time. When I came back, I was, so jazzed about being able to do something productive. And I'm just not one to sit around and read and watch TV and knit and do all the other things. I'm very involved in Rotary, and I have been for probably over 20, almost 25 years. And Rotary has been such a blessing because of the contacts I've made through Rotary, and the good that Rotary does around the world is something that is very close to my heart. Service above self. And that is something that I've always, even as a child, my dad was in a Kiwanis club, and that's a service club. I was the brownie leader. All these things, it's all about service, giving back to your community. This took me to another level outside of my own community, and just as Rotary has done. But this is something that I'm very compassionate about. I enjoy going to work. Not many people can say that.
That's right.
So it's a wonderful, heartwarming, and I know that we are helping these pets across the country, so that, my goal is that no pet be hungry or in pain because the person can't afford it.
Right.
So, yeah.
How do folks find you? Telephone, website, social media?
The website is probably the most used, which brings up that people can make donations of pet food, and you can go to our website. The website will actually, if you let it, will find your location, or you can type in a location and say search. It will give you all of the resources within an area that you're at. So all the donation sites, all the pet food provider places, all of the wellness clinics that are going to happen in that area, and any other resources. And it'll also list any homeless shelters that allow pets. Social media has been a huge vehicle for us. Right now we have over 108,000 likes on our Facebook page. We have over 7,000 people subscribe to our newsletter that we send out monthly. So the numbers just, keep growing, and it's exciting that we're able to share our mission with folks like yourself and listeners that may not have ever heard of us or even considered that there might be somebody out there that is helping pets of homeless people. The way people can help is to find a donation site, take pet food so that people in your community that are low income, that are struggling, they don't have to spend money on pet food rather than on their medicines or on their rent. So the other way is, of course, to donate monetary, and you can send us checks, which 100% of your donation gets to us. When you use PayPal or you use our own donation page, which is real easy to find, of course, there's a third-party fee on those. So we always encourage people to write a check and make it.
Send it over. We get dismissive of, why would a homeless person need an animal? What would you say to that?
I would say that people that don't get it, we'll have people on our Facebook page say, if I was to go into homeless tomorrow, I would take my dog. I would never leave my dog or surrender it. So because that bond is so strong, and unless you've had a pet and you know what that bond is, you might be one of those people that would say, why? I don't get it. So these pets, they're so loyal to their owners, and they're non-judgmental. They offer comfort, and sometimes they offer protection. Now, here's a story I was on a radio show, and just before that radio show, there were a group of agencies and media that went out and spent the night as a homeless person on the streets in Reno. This producer, the next day, or a couple days later, I was on that radio show, and she shared with me, I wish I had had a dog that night. I was so scared. I never slept. She was out on the streets walking all around Reno, and now she got that, if I had my dog with me, even if it was just a little dog, and so many people have little dogs, but they'll, when they're sleeping, these little ones will alert that homeless person that somebody's getting too close, that there may be danger, and it's their own little security system. So, whether the dog is big or little, they are protective of their owners, just as your dogs are and my dogs are.
Why do you do what you do?
I hear it in their voices when they call and they're desperate. I hear it in their voices when they call to say thank you. Even a thank you when we've had the veterinarian says we have to put the dog down. There's no way that this dog is ever going to recover. It's just something that, I don't know. I love what I do, and I know that I'm helping so many people and their pets that it's very rewarding for me. That's why I do it.
We want to thank Genevieve Frederick for sharing her story.
If you want to learn more about Genevieve, Pets of the Homeless, or make a donation, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/80. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a future guest on Paw Print, email us at thisispawprint@gmail.com or go to our contact page, thisispawprint.com/contact. You can find me or Nancy on social media, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Look for This Is Paw Print, all one word. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of Paw Print, you can find us on your favorite podcast app like iTunes, SoundCloud, or Pocket Casts. Look for Paw Print Animal Rescue. We want to thank all of you for sharing Paw Print with your friends and family. And remember, you spread a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time with another great episode on Paw Print.
Paw Print is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.